Hey, Pat Rigsby here, and in today's episode, I want to talk with you about 3 lessons I've learned coaching travel baseball. Let's get to it.
Welcome to the Fitness Business School podcast, the show for fitness business owners who want to grow their income, increase their impact, and improve their lifestyle. Be sure to listen till the end of this episode because we have a brand new special offer exclusive for listeners. So stay tuned.
Well, we've had a pretty full summer playing baseball. I coach my younger son's travel team. This is like my 32nd year coaching baseball. And you've heard me talk about baseball, obviously, if you've listened to any number of podcasts or read any of my newsletters. And so many of the things that have helped me in my business life originated or have been reinforced by the time that I've spent involved in sports. And so much of that is simply because, it's people, right? It is trying to help people achieve goals, become better versions of themselves, navigate adversity. If you're talking about building or strengthening a team. And there are 3 things that I know I shared with somebody recently that I felt like were really important takeaways from my time in athletics, and more specifically in like the recent kind of youth sports, because youth sports definitely gets a pretty rough reputation, and I would tell you much of it is justified. There are a lot of adults imposing their own goals on the kids instead of letting the kids enjoy the experience and have their own experience. The adults got to have their childhood, and I feel pretty strongly that they shouldn't kind of steal away the childhood of that next generation. But I've also seen plenty of wonderful things and lots of lessons. It's almost like this little focus group, if you will. It's a test kitchen or something where I get to see things, experiment with things, and just see how people operate. And navigating young teenagers is different than coaching 50-year-old adults. There's probably more crossover than you would imagine because people are people, and behavioral psychology is behavioral psychology at some certain levels. And so I wanted to share 3 takeaways, things that I see every day in the stuff that I'm doing with the young athletes that I think really kind of permeates what we do in the business world. And the first is that nobody really operates in a vacuum, right? We think of getting a client, and we all too often focus very much exclusively on their experience with us. My time coaching college baseball, I think I understood it pretty well and broadened it out and thought about, well, hey, if this person has to cram for an exam, they're not going to get as much rest. Or if they break up with their girlfriend, they're going to have a different kind of frame of mind whenever they come to the ballpark. So I understood that to a certain level, but I didn't really think as much about the family side of things and their role in the family, their support system or lack of support system. I probably didn't put as much emphasis on that. But in my time coaching the younger athletes, it's become readily apparent to me how interwoven all of that stuff is, right? Like, we went on a trip to Florida recently to play in a tournament. Each year we do like a destination trip, and most of the rest of the time we kind of stay relatively local, but there's a destination trip or two. And this one we went to Florida, and for a team of 11 players, the traveling party was 51. And it's important to be reminded of that. I know there were some responsibilities I had as a coach that went beyond just, hey, we got to show up at the ballpark and do our best in games or whatever. But I think the more important takeaway was if you're working with moms or dads or grandparents or whatever, they've got a very full life outside of what they're doing with you. And if you're thinking about their experience in the facility or in the training program kind of operating in a vacuum and that you're going to have these perfect circumstances. It's just not how it works. I mean, because I think about, okay, we had 51 people there. A lot of them were young siblings, but there were parents, there were a few grandparents. All of those people were stepping away from their day-to-day lives at home. So that would impact their professional life, their fitness journey, their nutrition, all of it. And we see that all the time. If you have moms and dads, their schedule varies, right? During the school year, things may be a little more structured, a little more systematic, if you will. Whereas during the summer, it may be completely different. They may be doing kind of what some of the parents in our program are doing, where they're on the road certain weekends or maybe throughout the week taking kids to practices or to summer camps. I mean, I think about my day to day, right? I've got multiple podcasts. I've got a consulting session doing a sales training for a team. I've got a coaching Zoom with a group of clients in a program. Then I've got to go. I just got back from taking my younger son to baseball camp. I got to pick him up later and take him to something else. And there's a full plate there. And it's not that self-care is not a priority. It's not that fitness or nutrition isn't a priority. It's that it can't be the only priority. And us being the sales people and the program designer and the kind of success facilitator, we have to be a realist about what people's lives really are and all the variables going on if we want to set them up to succeed and set them up to have a positive experience. Because having a positive experience is often about helping somebody succeed in the circumstances they actually have and not really feel bad about not being able to be successful because of those circumstances. So I think that's maybe one of the bigger lessons that I see on a weekly or even in some cases daily basis is that, and I mean, there's so much more going on in people's lives than just the interaction between our program, our business, our team, whatever, and that participant. And the better you are at understanding that and appreciating that and kind of weaving all those things together, the more successful you're going to be. The second thing that I think is paramount is the front-facing goal. The most prominent goal, frankly, isn't the most important goal. When it comes to youth sports or travel sports or whatever else, a lot of times people get really caught up in winning tournaments or winning games or something like that. And I don't want to make it sound like that plays no part. I'm not suggesting, the participation trophy is a good thing or a bad thing. I'm telling you that if you win, it's easier to get people to buy in. If you are trying to get development playing the minimum number of games because you lose all of them and so you don't go very far in events, certainly mitigates your ability to develop people. But by the same token, I think it's very clear, and I think as parents we would get that. As adults we may get that an overemphasis on a single goal like that, winning an event or winning a game, is really short-sighted and it's really silly. And the same thing holds true with weight loss goals or any other kind of metric, right? A body fat improvement, a specific strength improvement. I mean, ultimately, the big wins in all of this, they stretch far beyond that. They are feeling better about yourself and having more self-confidence and enjoying better health and relieving stress and really just enjoying a better quality of life. And sure, a lot of times people need to see some sort of tangible improvement, a number on a scale or some sort of visible progress, some sort of strength gain or a sense of being able to complete things that maybe they couldn't do before. All of that, I think, keeps people engaged and on the path. But I think that most of the big benefits in the sports world that I've learned come from the things that maybe aren't the ones that people think about most going in. I have parents all the time inquire about being a member of our team. And we've been very fortunate where we've retained the same roster. This going into this next season, we'll have the same roster for 3 years, which is very much kind of a unicorn thing in youth sports where there's just constant turnover and teams disbanding and people moving for different pursuit of different situations or goals. And when I have people inquire, it's always kind of a red flag to me when somebody says, well, I want to be on the best possible team and the most competitive team and whatever else. I'm like, if that's the only thing they're focused on, it's a little like somebody saying, well, I just want to lose weight at all costs. And it doesn't matter what path I take to get there. It doesn't matter what my experience is. They're probably not going to be happy because they're going to find out that if your goal is to, I mean, I remember when the Lose 20 and 6 challenge was so prominent, there'd be people who'd lose 18 or 19 pounds and they'd be miserable. They'd be just awful because they didn't hit this arbitrary number, 20, as if 20 was some magic thing that their life would always be that much better when they hit that number. I'm like, you've lost 18 pounds. I mean, think about how few people accomplish that kind of goal in a year. I mean, think about how much improvement that is, how that reflects the commitment, the effort, the consistency that somebody puts in. And those are the real wins, right? The ability to be consistent with something and to invest in yourself and to have a certain experience or a process that allows you to enjoy a sense of accomplishment. And I think that people that just ignore that or kind of miss the mark there, man, I think they're destined to be frustrated and unhappy with whatever environment that they step into. And then the final thing, there's something we talk about with players every day. Every time we play, it's like we have kind of 3 basic objectives. Kind of do your best and play hard. Put your best effort forward, right? So play hard or do your best. We'll kind of vary up the way we say that one. Be a great teammate and have fun. And the more I think about it, it's like, well, that probably is pretty applicable to every lane of life, right? If you're doing your best, you're holding up your end of the bargain. Win or lose, I mean, that's a circumstantial thing. You sitting down with a prospective client, if it's not a fit, it's not a fit. It doesn't matter as long as you did your best to put your best foot forward. That was what you could do. If a client comes in and they do great work in a training session, but maybe they don't hit the PR or maybe the scale didn't move the way they want, if they can be proud of their effort and the commitment they made, that's a win. The second, be a great teammate. I think I have recognized many times over that A, people do better when they're great teammates. And then B, the journey is so much more enjoyable when you're a great teammate. And so the thing that I kind of harp on with young people is like, if there are 9 people in a batting order, you get to be the batter basically 11% of the time. And maybe if you're fortunate and you get a hit or you're on base or something, you're playing offense for more than 11% of the time. But it's still, maybe 25% of the time that your team is playing that side of the ball, right? Like you're playing offense. Well, the rest of the time, your job is to support everybody else, help them become better, cheer them on. And what I find is the people who are better at that side of it manage adversity so much better because their focus isn't completely internal. Their focus isn't on the things that they didn't do well, and they're not dwelling on that. They're not making kind of mountains out of molehills because their effort and energy and attention are directed elsewhere. So I think the better you are as a teammate, selfishly, there's some stuff that's in it for you too. But if everybody buys into that, this kind of concept of the rising tide lifts all boats is in place, right? Imagine if every client in your facility is cheering on the other clients and wanting them to succeed and being supportive in everybody's pursuit of their goals instead of selfishly saying, well, if the coach is talking to this person, it's taking away attention from me, or kind of just feeling very transactional about what's going on. And the same holds true with your team members. If they are truly invested in the clients and their experience and their enjoyment of the process, then they're going to end up being a better coach because they're going to be more motivated to figure out ways to bring out the best in the people they serve. And this, I'm sure, holds true in every area of life, being a great friend, being a great significant other, trying to be a great parent. I mean, the more you invest in others, it comes back multiple times over. And yeah, every now and again, I'll make a post on social media kind of talking about life being a team sport and be a great teammate. And it never fails. Somebody will make some sort of comment that runs counter to that. Like, well, I was kind to these other people or helpful or supportive, and then it backfired on me and they took advantage of me or whatever else. And I'm like, I mean, yes, investing in other people comes with a risk. It comes with a risk that sometimes those people weren't the best people to invest in. But it's not about sometimes the other person. It's about us. It's like, what kind of person do we want to be? And if we're this type of person, on average, it pays us off many times over, and it benefits all those other people around us. Sometimes in the moment, and sometimes that payoff comes later on down the road. And then finally, of those three, the last one I mentioned was have fun. I think that this was one of the things that I hate to say regret, because regret doesn't really help much of anything. But if I'm going to regret any of the steps that I made in my coaching journey early on, and like coaching college baseball and even certain parts of my professional life, it was always kind of fixing my gaze on the next thing and not really enjoying the moment at all, not enjoying the people around me, not enjoying the experience at hand, not enjoying the process enough. And I know that's kind of a cliche one, enjoy the process, but the more you enjoy the process, the better you'll be at executing the process. The more you kind of immerse yourself in the moment, the better the moment becomes. And I tell this to the young people, and I'm not some old curmudgeon saying, well, hey, these are the best years of your life. And it's that sort of thing. I'm like, no, this is just a good lesson to learn now to carry forward, because each year of your life is what you make of it. And if you enjoy this part of it, you'll be making it better. And if you enjoy the next year, you'll make it better. So don't be in a hurry to get to the next stage. I see this very regularly in the sports world. I think people get like this everywhere. They're always trying to rush through the present to get to the future, instead of saying, well, how do I just be where my feet are and enjoy the moment and understand that the better I am at that, the better opportunities will come down the line. The more fulfilled I'll be both now and in the future. So those are some of the most important lessons that I think come up literally on a weekly basis in the sports world that I carry over to business each and every day. And I think they're probably valuable for you in your business life as well. So maybe the bonus tip I would give you to take away is, I'm sure there are lots of other experiences in your life that you're having, whether it's you have kids and the experiences they have or the things that they're involved in, or maybe you go to church and you witness how things operate there, or you are somebody taking a vacation or visiting a business. Notice what's going on and learn from it, because I think that this kind of myopic mentality that the only way that we can learn to be better at business is by reading a business book or listening to a business podcast, we're missing out on probably 80 or 90% of the opportunities to grow and improve. I mean, just keep your head up. There are lessons all around. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Fitness Business School. Before you go, I have a quick announcement.
One of the things that we've been doing with our current clients is taking them through this ideal business diagnostic. And really what it is this checklist that allows you to pinpoint exactly what your business needs next so you can keep improving, keep growing, and build a business that you love to own. One that pays you well, one that allows you to have the impact you want to have, and one that allows you to have a lifestyle that you truly enjoy. In this diagnostic, we walk through everything and we do an evaluation and can instantly pinpoint what you need to do next to build that business that you want. I'm going to extend this opportunity to get on with either me or my team and take you through this evaluation and fix your business's most vital needs fast. So if we take you through this, you're going to be able to make those vital changes that you need to finally have what I call your ideal business. If you'd be interested in going through this entirely free, risk-free diagnostic with us and learn what you already have in place, what you're doing well, and where your greatest opportunities for rapid improvement are, just shoot me an email with diagnostic in the subject line to pat@patrigsby.com. Again, an email to pat@patrigsby.com with diagnostic in the subject line will get you scheduled and take you through this evaluation to help you build the business you want.